These are your adventures as you explore, seeking out new life and civilizations, expanding your borders and exploiting the resources you find, befriending allies, or exterminating the foes that get in your way.
Contact detected entering sector. Configuration unknown. Assessing. Initiating countermeasures.
All right, everybody. Hi, welcome to Star Trek New Worlds. My name's Tony. I'm going to apologize right off the start. We're a little late today because there are some huge technical issues on this end. Long story short, everything that you see here is used using something called vMix, which is a fantastic piece of production software. And when you create the whole rigmarole in here and you save it as a profile, if that profile somehow disappears, which is what's happened this morning, then you got nothing. And for some reason this morning when I went to open the production and get us all ready for today, it was all gone. And I don't know what that was all about or what happened or anyway. So I had to go to an old version that I had saved luckily. And but as you can see, there's lots of things that aren't working. For example, there's no chat, even though I can see the chat is live right now. It is not up and running. So all that to say, there's going to be a whole bunch of technical snafus today. If you don't mind rolling with it, then we're just going to carry on. For those of you who are brand new and just don't want to hear all that sob story, hi, my name's Tony. This is Star Trek New Worlds, and we are a turn-based strategy game that we play online here with you today only on YouTube Live. We play it using or inspired by the rule set of Federation Empire as published by the Amarillo Design Bureau. And the maps that you will see here shortly are populated through the magic of Vassal, which, again, you will see here momentarily. Right. So today we are talking about Star Trek Splintered Will, which is one of 3 campaigns that we have going on concurrently. Splintered Will is, if you've watched any of our previous shows and live streams, is the one on the big map and the one where we have all these little maplets and everyone's sort of moving on to the big map. The long story, backstory of Splintered Will is that the Tholian Empire was once the oppressors of everyone in this sector of space and across the galaxy. And somewhere along the way, a great catastrophe and or falling of that empire splintered them into various factions, or splintered the galaxy into various pockets. We as players are rising from those ashes as our various civilizations or player factions, the Lyrans, the Remans, the Hydrans, the Goran, the Paravians, and we are making our way in the world. We are joined in this by a non-player faction, the Romulans, who are the only faction coordinated and fighting back, so to speak, against the Tholians. And the Tholians, you will see, are sort of scattered throughout with tendrils of their old empire permeating and violating the space for all of us. So we will get to that in a moment. We are in turn 47 of this campaign. And let's see if my first stinger works. Ready? We're going to go to the data. There we go. Okay, so that one worked. The other one doesn't. So we'll just stick to that one for now. As you can see here, we've got the table. So we'll go from top to bottom, and I'm actually going to pick up a... my goodness. Oh, dear. I'm going to pick up a different... Why? Oh, my God. Wow, when things go bad, boy, do they go bad. So, yeah, I'm just... there we go. All right, so I'm just going to take a look at this here and talk about it here with you. All right, so the Praevians on the top of this table, turn 47, have an economy of 102.6. They've increased, apparently, their economy by 4, which is great. They have 95 ships in their fleet with an attack factor of 265 and a defense factor of 432. That's big deal. You can see the delta in each one of those columns. That's how much it's changed over the past couple turns. So they've added 18 ships to their total fleet, improving their attack and defense factors by 46 and 47 respectively. They have a total of 20 YBSs, improving that by 4 over the past 2 turns, and they have 1 YDK. They are at intelligence level 5. 5, if you will remember, brings you to the big map on Splintered Will. The Hydrans just below them on the table, but above them economically. I'm particularly proud of that, just because, as you can see in the delta, there is a change in economy of 16.8. What in the world happened that the Hydran economy jumped by 16.8? That's the biggest jump I think we've seen in the entire game. I'll explain that in a moment. They have 63 total ships in their navy, with which is an improvement of 14. They have 133 total attack and 300 defense, an improvement of 38 and 63 respectively. They have 26 YBSs in their sort of infrastructure, improving it by 4, and 8 total YDKs, which is the highest number of YDKs in the game, matched only by the Lyrans. They also are at intelligence level 5. The Remans, which you will see here shortly, are a neighbor of the Hydrans, are at a whopping 111 in their economy, improving that by 5 over the past couple turns. They have 124 ships, one of the larger navies in the game, with improving that by 15 over the past couple turns. They have an attack factor of 346 and defense of 543, improving it by 48 and 57 respectively. They have a total of 12 YBSs, building 1 more for the past couple turns, and 3 YDKs, improving that by 2. They also are at intelligence level 5. The Klingons, who are on a totally different part of the map, the Klingons are at 118.6. They are near the top of the spectrum for economics in this game, improving their economy by 3 over the past couple turns. They have 126 ships in their fleet, and improving that by 26 over the past couple turns. They have 295 total attack, 511 defense, improving that by 76 and 76 and 109 respectively, and they have 27 YBSs, improving that by 7 over the past couple turns. They have 6 YDKs, an improvement of 1, and they also are at intelligence level 5. The Kzinti are at 91.5, the lowest economy currently in the game, but as we just saw with the Hydrans, that can change rapidly. They have 57 ships in their fleet, with improving by 14 over the past couple turns, 132 attack, 259 defense, an improvement of 36 and 57 respectively. They have a total of 10 YBSs, and that's an improvement of 2 over the past couple turns. And they have a total of 4 YDKs. They are at intelligence level 1. There are 2 teams or 2 factions in this game at intelligence level 1, and a total of 4 who are not reached 5 as of yet. So they are the first of the 4 that we'll discuss. The Federation are at 102, another triple-digit income. No improvement over the past couple turns. They have 102 ships in their fleet, improving that by 20 over the past couple turns. 222 attack, 421 defense, with an improvement of 55 and 78 respectively. Let me just close something that keeps popping up in the corner of my screen. And I can't see. Okay, there we are. So that was the Federation. The Federation 102, 421, 20, and I'm not sure if you can hear the Harley Davidson rolling by my window, which of course is, I can hear it. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Today's just a wonderful day. All things exciting in today's live stream. Lyrans are at 120.6. 120.6 economy. They have improving it by 2. They have 152 ships, the largest navy in the game. 152 ships, improving that by 24 over the past couple turns. 340 attack, 607 defense, an improvement of 56 and 89 respectively. They have the lowest number of YBSs in the game at 9, which is interesting. 9 YBSs and 8 YDKs. So they are matched with the Hydrans for the top number of YDKs, but only 9 YBSs. Interesting. Why so few bases, Lyrans? They are at intelligence level 5. The Carnarvon, the Gorn next on the list. The Gorn are at 100 economy, 100.8. They just recently shrunk their economy by 1 EP. That's due to some conflict happening in their space. They have 120 ships in their fleet, an improvement of 9 over the past couple turns. Attack of 239 and defense of 459, an improvement of 26 and 50 respectively. They have 21 YBSs, an improvement of 3 over the past couple turns, 4 YDKs, and they are at intelligence level 1. The Carnarvon, second from the bottom, but certainly not second from the bottom in this game. They are at a 106.1 economically, which is right sort of in the sweet spot, I would say, right now. We have the two top tier folks, the Klingons and the Lyrans, when it comes to economy. Everybody else is sort of in that 100 range, and the Carnarvon are certainly there. Though Carnarvon, 106.1, an improvement of 4 over the past couple turns. They have 71 ships in their fleet, an improvement of 24 over the past couple turns. They are certainly growing their navy. 181 attack, 336 defense, an improvement of 71 and 100 respectively. They have 27 YBSs, losing 1 over the past couple turns, but 4 YDKs, an improvement of 2 over the past couple turns. Interesting. They are at intelligence level 3. And the last on this list, but not last on the economic scale, is the ISC at 99. Still within that sort of 100 sweet spot, but just underneath the triple-digit mark. They have not improved their economy over the past couple turns. They have a total of 90 ships in their fleet, an improvement of 5. They have 264 attack, 449 defense, an improvement of 18 and 29 respectively. They have 12 YBSs, an improvement of 1, and 6 YDKs, again, an improvement of 1. They are at intelligence level 3. So, what can we say by this? Well, we can certainly look at the economy and say that the sort of the median, the average, is probably around, I mean, I could do the math, but I can't do it real quick off the top of my head. But if we're looking at the top end being 120, the bottom end being 91, so the median point is probably around the 110 mark, but with all the weighted average, it's probably lower, like 105 or 103 or something like that. So if you have an economy that is north of 100 but under 110, you're in the sweet spot. If you're like the Remans at 111, the Klingons at 118, or the Lyrans at 120, you're above the trend. If you're like the ISC and the Kzinti, you are just a little bit below the trend. But take note, the ISC are at intelligence level 3, the Kzinti are at intelligence level 1, and that intelligence level will make a big difference. And I will show you why in just a moment. Let's slide to the big map, and I can start to talk about why that is the case. Here we go. All right. So this is the big map. So I'll zoom out real quick so you can get a better perspective of what's going on. I'll slide my head over to the other side just so it's a little bit easier. So you can see here on the big map, this is as zoomed out as I can go. So you can see on the big map, you've got the pocket of yellow in the top left corner. That is the Lyran faction. Below them, that blue bubble, those are our Romulan non-player factions. You can see this sort of burgundy streak on the edge of their territory. That is the Tholian tendrils of the old empire. This maple leaf looking pentagon up here is the Riemann Empire with a sliver of blue in between them and the green Hydrans. You'll notice there is a peppering of burgundy on the borders of both, and then that again is the Tholians. We're going to just take away the supply menu for the Federation. So as we scroll down here, the Federation, the alternate Federation, which is there is a Federation sort of in blue faction, but this is the alternate coloring for the Federation that we have in our game. So the orange is the Federation, the gray and black sort of down here is the Klingons. You can see the Klingons just from a mass perspective are quite a bit bulkier than the Federation, but both are bordering on this pocket of Romulan territory, which is sort of being encroached by the Burgundy on all sides. The Burgundy is really surrounding the Klingons and really kind of pushing in on multiple factions or multiple directions. And it would seem, just on the surface, that the Romulans are either getting squished as an amoeba or being like water and taking shape where they can find opportunity. Over on the far right of the screen, you can see this red and yellow pocket. That is Pekka Khan, the leader of the Paravians, leading his flock to victory against the big, sizable blob of Romulans on top. Doesn't surprise me that the I won't go down that terrible joke road, but nonetheless, the Romulans are on top and the Paravians on the bottom. And there are some other pockets that you can see here in this space. Now, this big map is where you go when you reach intelligence level 5. You populate your presence on the map during that time. If you have not reached intelligence level 5, you're still on this map somewhere, but no one can see you and you can't see them. And so there are pockets here where there are other factions, and we can talk about where they might be, but we'll look at their individual maplets here in a moment. All right. So let's zoom in again, and I will talk a little bit about, and I'll slide my head over to the other side, and we'll talk a little bit about what's happened to drive that 16 plus point change in the Hydran economy. Now, let's just take a quick look at the Riemans, who have been at intelligence level 5 for some time on the left, and the Hydrans, who are at intelligence level 5 only in the past turn or two, on the right. Now, if you look at those two, the Riemans are a little bit bigger, but they're quite similar in size. And that wasn't the case only a couple turns ago. The borders, or the unexplored space, the black hexes, were noticeably smaller just a turn or two ago. And why is that the case? Once you reach intelligence level 5, there's a very distinct advantage that you get. Prior to reaching intelligence level 5, you will have your exploration ships go out and explore the great vastness of those fog of war hexes, all those gray hexes you see around there. And, you'll do your survey rolls, and there's a chance, a better than average chance that you'll unfog that hex and explore what's underneath it. However, once you've reached intelligence level 5, if that hex has already been identified and explored in a previous, long ago, then any sort of unexplored to you but previously explored hexes, if that makes any sense, will be immediately revealed to you once you have fixed supply to it. Fixed supply being a planet or a base providing a supply, extending your supply grid out. Now, why would a hex be previously explored? Well, as we mentioned before, the Tholians, who are the big baddies in this game, the masters, as per the thumbnail, the Tholians are a crystalline entity, ran a huge empire, and they've explored most of this territory already. And between them and the Romulans, they already have all the star charts as to where everything is. So once you reach intelligence level 5, and potentially some other role-playing aspects, you can get access to all that telemetry, all that data, but it only comes available to you if you have fixed supply to those areas. So what does that mean practically? Prior to intelligence level 5, you are using your exploration ships to explore every nook and cranny that you can. Once you've reached intelligence level 5, in this game, and not any other game that we're playing, but just in Splintered Will, you can effectively use fixed supply points as exploration. You can build bases and they will extend your known territorial range. Now, why am I dialing in on that in the thread of this story that talks about the economy? Well, prior to going to intelligence level 5, the Hydrans had lots of bases on the periphery because it was facilitating their expansion out into the fog of war hexes. The moment they hit intelligence level 5, and specifically when they went to peace with the Romulans, they had access to that telemetry. And anything, there's a coffee that's just been fired, I will grown up empires. All right, I'll take a good sip for that. And I'll talk about coffee here in just a moment. Let me take a quick sip and wet my whistle. Oh, yeah. Caffeinated goodness, keeping us stimulated, motivated, and giving you the goods in sweet action time. All right. So let me finish the story and then I'll talk about coffee. Okay. So as soon as we went to peace with the Romulans, and I'll dial in and show you what that peace was all about, then anything that was in fixed supply range of bases, planets, anything within my supply grid became visible. And there were a number of resources within those hexes that became visible at that time. And so as a result, the economy bumped up. In addition to that, during the 2 turns between the last time we saw the Hydrans or anything in Splintered Will, there was a little bit of a tussle between the Romulans and the Hydrans. And I'll zoom in and illustrate what that was. So here in this area, and I'll zoom in one more, I'll just take away the ship so it's easier to see. And I'll take away that control zone because it's a little bit buggy. Okay, so control zone, this just shows you the territory that is currently claimed or owned by the Romulans. I'll take that away. So you can see here, and I'll take away bases too, just so you can see there are a number of resources and planets on this end, and you can see the Hydrans on this end. Specifically, we're going to focus in on this resource here in 6011, this colony here in 5912, and this planet in 5712. I'm going to bring back the bases real quick. So I had encountered a number of, there was previously this dotted DMZ territory that was going all the way up to here in 6213 and then straight up. And much earlier in the game, the Hydrans were moving to the west and encountered this dotted line DMZ, didn't know anything about it. It's not a true neutral zone. It was just a demarcation on the map, but there were no ships, no bases, no one to talk to. So we go past that line and looking for folks, and we were able to see a resource down here in 6015 that was owned by the Romulans. And through some sneakiness, we saw that there was a planet nearby that ships were sort of heading to, which is in alignment with a fixed supply grid. Resources are being sent to that supply node to be able to be integrated into the economy. Okay. So we kept moving to the west, trying to find somebody. And then we came across this colony. And again, continuing to move west. And then at that time in the game and sort of just outside the game, the GM, Robin, shared with us the intelligence system. And I shared that with you 2 live streams ago and 4 live streams ago, respectively, about the intelligence system and how that worked and the different sort of things you could do to improve your intelligence. Because previous to that, it wasn't clearly, or at least this player didn't clearly understand what the intelligence system was all about. So once that was fully revealed, it was like, okay, well, let's go to war, claim some territory, provoke a response from the Romulans, because up to that point they had not interacted, and we'll just see what happens. And by taking the colony and the resources, I would have bumped up my intelligence level a couple of notches, which would have revealed some more information for me. So the Hydrans go to war. We claim these 2 resources and this colony. And then as a result, the Romulans say, whoa, hey, buddy, what's going on? And they put up a little bit of a fuss. But we initially started negotiations, like a quick little chit-chat back and forth as to what was going on. And at the end of the day, the Romulans, in our negotiation, they wanted the Hydrans to initially give up the YDK in 6111 right here, and this one here in 6014. A little more negotiation back and forth, is indicating that's something that's a little across the line. They said, okay, you can keep the one in 6014, but this one up here, this one's got to go. And again, I said, I'm sorry, I just can't agree to those terms. And we were still in negotiations, and we were reaching the point at the end, sort of like in the meta gaming timeline where we need to progress the turn. So the negotiations ended for that turn, and instead of ending, nothing happening, and then resuming negotiations the next turn, the Romulans attacked. So they attacked me in various locations, specifically at this base here and this base here. And I had anticipated that there was a good enough fleet to be able to defend, and I defended against their attack. And in response to their attack, I reacted with a proportional response. So they attacked, they took back this resource, this colony, and they attacked these two bases. When I retaliated, I took back this colony and this resource, and I attacked this planet with a very clear strategic goal. So the colony is not counted as a planet for the purposes of the intelligence rating system. And when you took a planet, that bumped you up one intelligence level. And at that point during the conflict, I was at intelligence level 4. If I took the planet, I would get bumped up to 5, like that. Okay. So I retaliated, moved forward, moved my ships in such a way that I took the planet, the colony, and the resource back. No problem. I took those back, and at that time, before I took them back, I was at 87, so I take those 3 back. That's 3 EP. Even though this is a developing planet, which normally gives you 2, when you devastate it, it will only give you 1 EP until it fully recovers. So at this point, it'll only give me 1 EP for the developing planet. So 3 EP added to my economy, that gets me back up to 90. And based on the back and forth between the Romulans and the Klingons and the Hydrans, we resumed our negotiations post-combat, and we negotiated this neutral zone line that you see here, down, across, and over. And all basically that is to recognize that at that moment, the winds of fate were blowing a certain way when it came to the Romulans, and they agreed to acquiesce to the territorial established by sort of military conquest, and we went fine from there. The Hydrans had achieved their strategic objective, which was intelligence level 5. This was the end of the 4th turn of war, which in the context of our game, you can, and in F&E, you can only change the status of your economy every 4 turns. Meaning, and there's 3 states of economy. At this point, there is peace, war, and limited war. So in the context of those 3 spectrums, if you go to war, changing your economy from peace to war, you have to stay at war for 4 turns. And then only at the end of 4 turns can you revert back to peace. Okay? So reverting back to peace at the end of 4 turns was the soonest possible time I could revert my economy back to peace. I maintained, but if you were still engaged in a conflict and there were valid military targets that you could attack or that you were being attacked, you could or would have to, especially if you were being attacked, you would have to remain at war status. Okay, no problem. So 4 turns went by, the minimum window, reverted back to peace. Very successful strategic and tactical operation in the sense of achieving specific military outcomes, a slight territorial gain, establish a border, reach intelligence level 5, and had the sort of boost of economy, which is in war status, you have 100% of your gross income versus peacetime, which is 50%, and able to maintain that for a period of 4 turns was great. So all things around, the Hydrans had a very prosperous couple turns. What we didn't realize was that as soon as intelligence level 5 was reached, that supply grid exploration thing that I was talking about would kick in. And in the expansion of our unexplored hexes being revealed within our supply grid, another 10 EP, over 10 EP was revealed, meaning we got to 100 and, 3.8 is what the current economy is for the Hydrans, which is pretty good. So all that to say, it was a combination of specific resources being taken, the war and the resolution of that war reaching intelligence level 5, and the benefits that came with that really catapulted the Hydrans to the economic status they're at now. Now, why do I go into that big ordeal about talking about that? Well, if we look at the Kzinti here, and I'll move my head to the other side. If we look at the Kzinti here, you can see that their footprint and their economy. So where's Kzinti? I know it's there. There it is. So they're at 91.5 as of right now. And if I take away all the ships, look at where their fixed supply points are. There's a planet here, a planet here, a planet here, planet here, and then a whole these bases. So think about if they were to reach intelligence level 5, the degree to which their bubble or their footprint would expand. If they have 3 supply, which is sort of the standard right now, I think, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8 hexes just based on this planet would be instantly revealed. And then you go around the whole perimeter of their territory and figure that out. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 possible fixed supply points that would expand their territory. And I guarantee you, out of all those hexes that would be revealed, there would be at least one resource in there. And so if the Kzinti, for example, in the next 2 turns reached intelligence level 5 and just miraculously, pushed out their borders, then their economic gains would be significant. Now, I'm not saying they should do that or that they will do that. I'm just saying that if they did that, that would be one advantage that they would get. So we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, or the thumbnail of this episode, the Masters are back. And what are the consequences of that? Again, going back to the big map, and I'll zoom out. Going back to the big map, once you get to the big map, you are on the radar of, and they see you on the big map. They can see the Hydrans are there. They can see the Remans, the Lyrans, the Feds, the Klingons, the Pravens. They know they're there. And as of right now, there is currently a war or conflict, a hot war going on between the Paravians and the Tholians, the Lyrans and the Tholians, definitely the Federation of the Klingons and the Tholians. And so even the Remans have some tussles with the Tholians. So each one of these factions that are on the big map, except for the Hydrans for right now, are having an ongoing conflict with the Tholians, the big baddie. The Tholians in this game are at the highest tech level you can get, called GW, or in the context of Federation Empire, the General War. That's the highest level of technology you can get. And remember, there are 4 tiers or levels of technology. We all started at the first level, W Tech. We are, on the whole, all at Y Tech right now, which is level 2. The next one is level 3, which is M Tech. And then you go to GW and so on. Y ships versus GW ships is quite the delta. Think of it as being the difference. I think probably the easiest way to think about it is the difference between German tanks in World War II versus French infantry along the French border. Not the Maginot Line, but everything around it. Actually, you could even think of it as the Maginot Line, because in that case, it's even more of a delta than that. But if you were to look at that beginning of World War II between the Germans and their tanks and their blitzkrieg tactic versus the French and their infantry-based defensive posture, the French were employing World War I tactics, digging trenches and using infantry and artillery to be able to defend fixed points. The Germans were leveraging their speed of movement and mobile firepower that came with the tank. And they were able to leverage that into a literally lightning strike that was able to decimate and destroy their opponents. Now, if you went head-to-head, tank to artillery or tank to, infantry in a trench, it wouldn't be as effective as going around them was. And certainly the GW technology of the Tholians versus the Y-tech of the different player factions in this game is similar in that way. But the thing you have to think about is that for each Tholian ship, they are pound for pound better, stronger, faster than any of the player factions and their assets. I mean, yes, you might have a player that has a great dreadnought or something, but that dreadnought is like their biggest, baddest ship, and it's 6.8. The cruiser on the Tholians is an 8. It's better, faster, and as strong as their dreadnought. And so little things like this. So how does that play into the description of this video, talking about what kind of core strategic choices need to be made? Let's zoom in to the Hydran border, and this will, I'll slide my head over. This will also impact other players and their thought process as to what they're doing. So as you can see here on the border, on the bottom here, there is, and I've taken away the ships, there is this red burgundy area, which is the control zone or the territory that has been claimed by the Tholians. You can see here that they have a base. And there's, if I bring the ships back briefly, you can see there's a bunch of ships there too. But they have a base and a fixed structure there. Based on intelligence at this point, we can tell, or we can deduce that there are fixed assets within 2 hexes of the Tholian border, wherever you find it. For example, over here, you can see that there is this battle station, and their territorial claim extends 2 hexes out in all directions. There is also a battle station here, or rather a fixed, let's just take away the base for a sec. Yeah, so there's a planetary ground base and a planet here, and their territorial claim extends 2 hexes out as well. It's probably reasonable to assume that there is maybe something here or something here base-wise on the Tholian front. So when I look at this and I can see that there's a base here and there's extension of territory here, there's most likely a base probably in 6022 or something similar relating to, maybe it's over here in 5921, relating to the Tholians and their territorial claim. Now, going back to our Panzer German tank metaphor, GW ships can move 6 hexes, and at GW they have 6 supply. So they can reach out, hit me, and retrograde back to their bases. Which means that this bats and the ships at it have a reach to be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can reach out to within 2 hexes of my home world, and they can hit a whole bunch of economic assets in between. Planets, medium planets, everything. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. So from the Hydran perspective, and I would imagine all the other player factions have something like this they need to deal with or a concern they need to address, how are you going to defend against the potential of a blitzkrieg attack from a lightning attack from the Tholians, i.e. the Germans? The Germans. Well, my friend, we will fight them in the hills. We will fight them on the beaches. Oh my God. Churchill in a German accent. That's terrible. So bottom line is you need to create your own little Maginot Line to be able to box them in or create a barrier. And you might say, why would you do that, Tony? You just talked about the German blitzkrieg defeating the Maginot Line. Why would you use a Maginot Line tactic against the analog or the metaphorical Germans in this example? Well, so the question is, how aggressive are the Tholians? In the past 2 turns, since these have shown up, I have not seen any movement of ships or intent to attack Hydran assets. So I don't have any reason to believe that they're going to reach out and attack me as of yet, although they may do that. So the most prudent thing to do from a defensive perspective is to establish fixed pillars of strength or bases to be able to defend against the potential attack of the Tholians. That would most likely mean developing a base network across the border that would stretch along this. And an additional benefit to that is when I build those bases, it will allow me visibility further into this area. So for example, just like this base here being built, I can see 1, 2, 3 hexes out, right? I can see into this area. If I build a base, let's say right here on 6819, I would be able to see a lot. I'd be able to see 1 more hex deep here and get to see what's back there. Or if I built a base in this little pocket here in 6221 or 6320, I would get to see inside there as well. So the idea being that I would build these little pockets of logistical reach and defensive strength to be able to recce and better understand my enemy, provide me a barrier and pillars of strength to defend against. Another coffee from Robin J. All right, let's take a quick sip, wet that whistle, and continue with this strategic analysis. Oh, by the power of Grayskull, caffeine is here. All right. So as we return to my German accent, right. So we that's what we're doing: building bases, increase our reach, recce out the enemy, and have a defensive network. Let me show you a place where that worked really well. Oh, look, we're already there. Right here, when the border came down this way, I did the exact same thing with the Romulans, building this defensive network of YDKs. YDKs in this game allow you to build frigates in situ, i.e. locally on those bases. They also provide logistical points of repair and supply range. So these bases provided a key hard point to be able to reach into and take this nugget, this bite of territory, or at least just secure it, right? And make it defendable from Romulan attack. The Romulans are also at Y-Tech, so it's a much fairer fight. But in this example, my logistical ability to repair and supply units to the front was vastly superior to the Romulans, and therefore, in a war of attrition, the Hydrans won out. And so that was one of the key ingredients to the success of that particular operation. So if I want to try and replicate that success with the Tholians, I want to do something similar on the border there. Okay, that was a lot of talking. Let's stop talking about these dirty Hydrans and their Hydran coffee, and let's scroll down to another finger-licking good kind of character. That is the Paravians. Okay, now we did already the quick recap. You saw it before on the table, and we talked about where the economics and the fleet cap and all that were when it came to each faction. So I'm not going to do that again here for the purposes of repetition, but I will go over a quick analysis of what's going on the Paravian front. We're going to go top down just to be able to show the contrast between the northern and southern border, and let's talk about that now. So you can see here on the top there is the large Romulan presence on the northern border with the Paravians. If we go across the border, the northern border with the Paravians, and the ships are back, you can see there is very little, if no, presence of military units. Now I'm going to take away the control zone real quick. Notice the contrast, not to say that it's like crazy threatening or anything, but notice the contrast that the Romulans have warbirds, which is a cruiser, and 2 frigates, and a planetary ground base for them at each of these hard points. So you've got a YDK, planetary ground bases, 4 of them, 3 ships defending this hard point. And I'll just take away, whoops, not that's what I'm going to do. So this is a medium planet, colony, minor planet, and going the way around. Okay. So let's bring back the bases real quick, and you can see we've got a base network refortifying all those planetary hardpoints. So the colony, the colony, minor, colony, medium, that's all being reinforced with these bases and hardpoints. You've got 3 ships minimum on each one of these hardpoints, providing a defensive deterrent against potential... Oh, another coffee from the Khan's Albatross Coffee Company. Well, thank you. I never tasted a delectable caffeinated beverage that was so finger-licking good. It's almost like you put the secret sauce or the special spices in the drink itself. All right. So again, tactical or strategic analysis. We can see the Romulans have built out this base structure and supported it with ships along the border. Just showing that as an example. On the Paravian side, you've got nothing like that. You've got bases, and sort of at a weird pattern of distribution in the sense of not consistent yet. So, for example, these 2 bases all by themselves over here, undefended planet, nothing for a good stretch. Then you have this little guy here, a tug here, which will very obviously be building a base shortly. You have a tug here, I'm going to argue is probably going to build a base there shortly, and so on. So you have the Paravians not yet established, but looking like they're going to establish a base network to mirror and or just reinforce the area on their northern border with the Romulans. Okay, fair enough, no big deal. So where are they putting all their eggs? Which basket are they putting them all in, you might say? Well, if we go down here, we can see what is going on. I'll bring back the control zone here. Control zone, you can see the Tholians have these pockets of control. I'll take away them real quick, and you can see they're based on bases and fleets right here. So on 3rd Expeditionary, 2nd and 1st. Oh my God. Okay, let's pull up some Tholians, shall we? Where are you, my Tholian friends? I can't find the Tholians in my menu bar. Where are you? Klingon 2, Zinti, Lyran, Paravian, the Riemann, the Romulan, there you go. Okay, we've got you. Now we've got expedition fleets. They're not exploratory fleets. What are they? Are they? Okay, I guess they're, I guess 1st, 2nd, and 3rd are exploratory fleets. Okay. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you can see right behind my head, which of course you can't see through, so I'm just going to put it right there. You can see there is a destroyer and 2 PCs per fleet box. There are 3 of them. So there are 3 DDs and there are 6 PCs. Not the strongest defensive network ever. However, those DDs and PCs, all 3 of them can pinwheel, and the pinwheel makes them much harder to deal with. Then, of course, they do have a BATS. Now, a couple things to note about this BATS. BATS stands for Battle Station. It is a 12 attack, 12 defense ship. It has EW, and if you can see it on the live stream, there is a 6 next to the diamond. And I can't zoom in, unfortunately, and get any closer to the actual icon. When I pull it up like that, it doesn't change anything for you. But the BATS has a diamond next, or 6 next to the diamond. That means there are 6 fighter factors on that base. And fighter factors are great because, at least for the Tholians, 6 extra 6 extra attack factors, and they're replenishable in the sense of they can be attrition units. You can burn 6 points of damage on those fighters. The next turn, you don't have to spend any, well, you do have to spend money to replace them, but they'll automatically repopulate. You don't have to go out of your way to repair anything. They'll just be there next turn, which is great for the Tholians. So this particular base is not looking too strong, I would say. And if we look at the Paravian side, they have Kestrel fleet ready to pounce. So let's look at the Paravians' Kestrel fleet and see what they have. Okay. So I'm going to put it over here in the corner, a little bit easier to see. Now, Kestrel fleet has a YDN, and this goes back to my example I was talking about. The YDN is their heaviest ship. It is a 6'8" ship. Great ship for all intents and purposes. But when you compare it to the GW ships of the Tholians, it's a poor comparison. Again, this is just the generational difference between technologies. It's like cavalry fighting armored divisions in the modern era. So you have 3 cruisers, 3 light cruisers, and a boatload of frigates. So 8 frigates, 6 cruisers, light and heavy respectively, and a dreadnought. This is a total of 15 units, put the prime team. Do I think that 15 units could take this base? Well, there's a couple of things that go into that. The total command factor of a dreadnought is 10, which means it can control a total of 11 ships. The best possible battle line, would be 10, 18 for 4. Another 9 would be 27 for 7. 27 plus 8 would be 35. The best attack factor that they could generate would be 35 attack, and they would quickly start losing that as they would blow through their frigates. 35 attack is the best attack factor, well, plus the prime team, that they could generate to attack this base. This base, just the base alone, has 18 attack and defense factors between the fighters and the base itself. That's not including the ships. The ships themselves, if you were to just count them one-on-one, so I can't remember what the BAT's command rating is, but I'm going to assume it's only 8, which means there can only be 9 ships controlled there. So let's assume they don't pinwheel. Pinwheel doesn't affect attack factor, just defense factor. So let's just look at the attack factor. If I look at 3 destroyers at 4 apiece, that's another 12 on the 18, taking them to 30. Oh, another coffee, although I didn't hear it, but I saw it. It was from someone. Someone fired a coffee. Let's do a quick sip. Again, buggy issues on my production side, but we have reached our 4 coffee goal already. Thank you very much. Let's continue with the analysis. Okay, so we've got 12 plus the 18. That gets us to 30 already, and we've only got 3 ships in the fleet. If you add in, we can get another 6 ships, which is all the PCs. So all the PCs, 4, 4, and 4, that's another 12. That's 42 attack. 42 attack on the defender versus 35 attack from the attacker. And the base can take SIDS. The base can take 12 damage in incremental damage before it's crippled or before its attack factor is messed up with. The 7, 4. So you will, after you've lost or crippled the 4th frigate, the attack factors on the Praven side will start to fall. I think this would be a great battle to watch. I don't think they win it. And on top of everything, the Tholians will have a EW advantage because the base has EW and none of the Praven units do. So all that to say, I think there is a strong likelihood that the Kestrel fleet attacking that base will not be successful. Not to say that they can't bring in other ships, but just on the face of it, I don't think they would be successful, or it would be extremely close. It depends on how the dice would roll. But if the dice went really bad for the Tholians and it went really well for the Pravens would lose a lot and blow up that base potentially. But that doesn't even take into consideration the fact that the Tholian ships can pinwheel. And if they pinwheel, they increase their defense factor by 50%, and that just makes it harder to do damage to them. So, all that to say, there's a lot that could go into this battle. But that's their smallest fleet. Let's close these out, and let's look at the real stack here. Wow. Okay. So, if you can see it here, you've got on the far left of that stack, you've got a battalion of ground units. So there is 6 fighter factors and 3 attack, 3 defense. The BATS itself has 6 fighter factors, EW, as well as the battalion, and 12 attack, 12 defense. These are just units that are going to be in the fight no matter what. So that's a total of, jeez Louise, 27 attack and defense starting off. I'm not sure what the MPV is. I think that is that a supply palette for fighters? I'd have to get a confirmation because I don't have the Tholian MSIT on hand, so I don't know what that is on the face of it. But you've got a monitor ship. Monitor ships are ships I've never used before in the game, just because I've never gotten to GW. But they are basically, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, they are ships designed to be able to defend fixed assets. As you can see here, it's a 10 attack, 6 defense ship, so not great on the defense factor, but it brings a lot of firepower. Then there's the FRD. The FRD is a fleet repair dock. It's basically just a giant target, but it can do, I believe, 8 repair points, just like a YDK, in that hex, meaning anything that gets crippled or damaged, it can repair for the next turn. It can also, I think it can also do battlefield repair, although I'm not sure. Then you've got second garrison fleet. Let's just take a look at the Tholian garrisons. Oh, dear. So the second garrison is the second line here. So in addition to the monitor, the bats, and the battalion, you still have the second line of this garrison, which is a command cruiser at 9, 4 war cruisers, 2 of these carriers, which have 6 fighter factors each and a 7 attack, 7 defense just for them. You have escorts, destroyer escorts, patrol craft escorts, and a scout. So, all in, I'm just going to ballpark it on the top of my head for total attack factor. I'm not going to include the CPCs, although they're in there. So the CC has a command rating of 9. It can control 10 ships, which is probably the entire stack here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. But the carriers would be in the support lines, so they won't do anything potentially. Or the scout would be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11. Let's assume their command factor is 9. So we just leave 1 ship out of this. But if this was the case, you've got, oh my goodness. So 14, 28 plus 9 is 37. Let's just not include the carriers for now because it's just going to get ridiculous. Let's just include the destroyers and the PC escorts. Well, I'll include 1 carrier. So we're at 35 plus 6, 13. 35 plus 13, brain will slowly click in. 48 plus another 8 is 56, plus another 4 is 60. That's 60 attack just in the ships, not including the battalion, the bats, the monitor. Yeah, okay. So long story short, this is a ridiculously hard target to hit and take. What do they have? What do the Paravians have in the vicinity? Vulture and Raptor fleet. I just don't think you can generate enough offensive firepower to do anything here. Let's see here. Paravian, Vulture, and what was the other one? Come on now. Raptor. Paravian Raptor. Raptor fleet. Okay. So Raptor, we'll put that there. We'll put that there. So you've got a YDN, Buzzkill, 3 cruisers, 3 light cruisers, so 4 cruisers, 5 light cruisers, and 8, 11. That is not enough. Let's add Eagle and Hawk Fleet just for S&Gs. Hawk Fleet. Well, we got another YDN. That's good. And what was the other one? Eagle. Paravian Eagle fleet. Where are you? Eagle. Oh, there's a stack. Okay, I'll put that one up here just because it looks a little bit more intimidating. Okay. All right. So Eagle fleet, which is the one right next to it, has a YDN, 10 cruisers, which are pretty good. That's a lot of cruisers. And the big thing about the cruisers is for the Praevians, they take the most amount of damage, right? So it'll take 6 damage before it gets crippled, and that's the real advantage there. The proliferation of cruisers allows you to absorb damage while maintaining your attack factors. That's the advantage there. So you've got 10, 13, 14, 15. I don't know. That's pretty good. That's 60 attack factor just in the cruisers. Then you got 3 YDNs, which is another 666. Mark of the Beast. 18 attack factor there. And then you got the light cruisers. 1, 3, 6, 7. 7 light cruisers. It's another 27. And then you've got 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 3 is 17, plus 4 is 21. 42 attack factor. So, I mean, you've got over 100 attack factor combined in all those fleets. The question is, how much can you keep on target while attacking that fleet with an EW advantage and all those fighters? I'd pay money to see that fight. Would you? Would you pay money to see these Praevians go toe to toe with the Tholians? I don't know. I think it would be an interesting battle to watch, even more exciting to sort of like see in real time, to see what choices would be made on either side for crippling and so on, and what kind of impact that would have. I don't know that I see any pinwheeling happening. Maybe with those I don't know that the war cruisers can pinwheel. Maybe they can. I don't know. I feel like there is a category for war cruisers that can pinwheel, but we'll have to take a look. I mean, I haven't played the Tholians, so I don't know off the top of my head. But it would be interesting to sort of review and see how much total compot can be generated and how much damage the Praevians can absorb. But let's ask another question. Let's assume Vulture, Hawk, and Eagle all go after this target. Sorry, Vulture, Raptor, Eagle, and Hawk all go after this target. Kestrel goes after this one. It's a 50-50 shot if Kestrel is successful there. I'm going to guess they won't be, but maybe they are. This one is more of a knife's edge, in my opinion, but they could definitely, potentially, win that fight. If they fought that battle and they won, what's the distinct advantage? Well, if I bring back the control markers, you can see that if they destroy these 2 bases, there's 2 big takeaways. Without knowing where the other bases are, or if there are any bases behind here, we can guess there's probably something here on this hex, because there's a 4th garrison, or 4th expedition and 1st garrison. So 1st garrison is a dreadnought. Oh my God, dreadnought. Couple cruisers, war cruisers. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in 1st garrison. So here's the question. Is it worthwhile for the Praevians to dump everything they have to try and take out this guy right here before 1st garrison arrives? Because if they do that and they can destroy it, then it will eliminate the supply point. And if they can eliminate the supply point, then that will reduce the reach the Tholians have into Praevian territory. And the Praevians can consolidate a little bit. Same thing with this one up here. If they are able to do that, and they are effectively able to neutralize those targets, that would be a huge win for the Praevians. And I think it would be a phenomenal sort of game changer in their conflict with the Tholians. The question is, what would to what degree would the Tholians retaliate, and with what? If you can eliminate 2nd garrison and all that there, will 1st garrison be enough to mop it up? I don't know. The real thing is the reach. If you can eliminate their supply, then you can really reduce their reach. If it was just a 6 hex reach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're assuming there's no other base back here that can provide them extended reach, then effectively you're buying yourself security with time and distance. Oh, that's really interesting. I'll be really curious to see if you do that. Okay, that's the Pravians. Let's take a quick second. I'm going to go back to the chat. And as you can see, the chat is still not working. I am so excited about it. I'm going to try one more time. I can see, if you guys can see this, well, you can't see this. I can see on a table here that my plugin is working for chat. It just, for whatever reason, isn't showing up on the live stream. I'm going to try this one more time to refresh it. Nothing. Killing me. Killing me softly. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Be that way. It was working before, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. Just ridiculous. I don't understand why it's doing that. Okay. Oh, well. We'll have to deal with it another day. So, I'm going to read the chat. Actually, you know what I can do? I will go to... I will go to... trying to find another way to bring up the chat. I know you guys can see it, obviously, on the YouTube live stream. But I'll see if I can bring it up in another way here. Okay, so that's... Hold on. Stand by. I'm trying to be creative here. In situ. Whoop. I'm trying to make this go. Boom. Okay. That kind of works. Let's slide on over. All right, so this is the pop-out chat for the YouTube channel, and let's scroll. Lots of stuff going on here. Okay, so technical problems on this end. Hicks hacked with his shotgun. Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Hicks. So the Hydran Incorporated... what was the name of it? Oh, dear. Now I gotta go look it up. I had it written down. Robin. Where is my Hicks role playing? Few battles. Where is the... I'm trying to find the big update, battles updated. Okay, reply to Robin. The Hicks. Did I write it down here? Thank you for engaging the Hicks. That was the Romulan communique. Romulan waiting response. Okay. The Hydran Industrial Corporative State. HICS, otherwise known as Hicks. We are the Hicks in the north, in the hills. That's us. There we go. Okay, so the Hydran Incorporated Industrial Incorporative State, that's us. We're the Hicks. Okay, so a bunch of coffees fired. Let's take it up. Let's take it up here. So Jerome is in the house. Mayhem has arrived. 10 command rating, Bill says, with regards to... Was it the Bats? The Bats has a 10 command rating? I'd have to look that up. Better late than never, Fed 2. Oh, I hear lots of banging upstairs. Pravian fleets are currently on defensive guard duties. For now, Jim says. The chicken people never get good dice. Fair. Fact. MPV monitor carrier. Oh, okay. Monitor carrier? It's a carrier pod for the monitor. Oh, I get it. Okay. All right. So I think the Hydran... Hydran just called Colonel Sanders chicken. Okay. That's the Pravian Marine Commander's name. Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of banging upstairs. I'm not sure what's going on. 7161 does not have a Tholian control marker. They have ceded the empty space to the greater Paravia, and currently we are on a Cold War footing, and the economy is due to wind down towards more peaceful levels. A bunch of hicks. Okay, so it sounds like based on our map here, and we'll pull that up once I can get... There we go. So it sounds like in this area we've got some tensions, it would seem. So this particular hex is being seeded. What was the hex number? 7161. Okay. 7161? I guess that's that one. Where the base is. Okay. So they're seeding that to you. Okay. Interesting. Well, if the Paravians are able to settle them down and work towards taking that territory, then that would be good. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've talked about the Paravians. Let's zoom out and get rid of all these Paravian chicken heads and slide over to the... Let's zoom in one more and then slide. Slide over to the Klingon and Federation factions. All right. So I'll be honest. It's a bit of a hot mess over here, and I have no idea what's going on. I will move my head to the other side just to try and make it a little bit easier to see. So it looks like I don't see a lot of conflict between... I'll take away the control zones real quick. I don't see a lot of conflict between the Klingons and the Tholians. I can see here, for example, you've got a couple of war cruisers on a base, but I don't see a lot of ships. 7th and 5th Expeditionary Klingon... Exploration fleets, 6th and 7th. Yeah, there's not a lot of military assets ready to attack. Okay. Over here, there's Red Fleet and South Fleet. Let's take a quick look. Klingon Duras is red. Okay. All right. This is good. So the Red Fleet right here is a command ship, a cruiser, 5 destroyers, and a frigate. And then what's the South Fleet here? Klingon South Fleet. Another command cruiser. And I'll just slide it under here. So another command cruiser, 3 destroyers, and a frigate. And then there's Vindicator Fleet. Let's take a quick look at Vindicator. Where would Vindicator Fleet be? I don't remember seeing... Oh, there it is, Vindicator. Boom. Okay. So these are the 3 fleets above my head in that area. So we've got a total of 2 command cruisers, 3 cruisers, 2, 5, 10 destroyers, that's good, and 3 frigates. Do I think that's enough to take out 3 PCs and a BATS? Yes, I do. Oh, but the BATS has a battalion, so that's 9 plus 8, that's 27 plus... 27 plus 8, that takes us to 35. So 35 attack. What's the best you can generate? You can generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 20. And then you can have 5 more ships, which would be 15. So you can generate 35 attack as well. So between your attack and their attack, do you think you have enough to take them? It's close. It's close. Sorry, I'm receiving an amber or an alert. An emergency alert. Okay, doesn't relate to me. So many things today have me unsettled. What a crazy live stream today, huh? Okay. So that's the Klingon side. If we scroll up, we can see we've got, once again, we have the trade route with lots of reinforcement along it, would seem, between the Romulans and the Klingons. And there's lots of Federation units here as well. You can see there is a stack. Oh, my God. Look at this. So we've got a Vulture. Let's go. Vulture, Kingbird, 2 Warbirds, a Falcon, which is a Mauler, 3 Destroyers, 3, 4, 5 Oh my God. I love it when it's disorganized. It really makes it easy to read. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like 4 destroyers, 6 frigates, 2 warbirds, a kingbird, and a vulture, along with 4 planetary ground bases and a YDK. Okay. And another coffee has been feared. I'd have to go back to the chitter chat. Let's restore the chat. Boom. It'll take a second to repopulate, and then I'll be able to tell who shot that. Anytime you're ready, chat. Okay, it's not letting me see who fired the coffee. Pop out chat. There we go. All right. The Supremacy News Network has fired a coffee. Ooh. Supremacy News Network. Is that a Klingon Supremacy News Network? I would be curious. All right, so we've got command cruiser. There we go. Now the chat's repopulated. Cruisers, command cruisers, war cruisers, destroyers. That's quite a bit. And then the big stack here has the Monitor, the FRD, a CVA. Ooh. There's a lot of interesting units there. And then, of course, well, it looks like the Romulans are on the defense. How much are the Klingons and the Federation assisting the Romulans in their defense against the Tholians? It looks like the Federation are quite... look at this. 7th. Jeez Louise. I don't even know what to do here. So let's look at all these... Oh my God. Okay, so we have auxiliary fleets, right? And then we have fleets. So Fed to, are they battle fleets? There's nothing there. Fed to numbered fleets. Okay, let's put this over here. So we have auxiliary and numbered. So you can see here, we've got 7th, 8th, 9th, and 2nd. So I don't see anything in 9th or 7th. But I do see 2nd, and 2nd has a cruiser, a bunch of light cruisers, frigates, another YCA. Come on, guys, let's stack this together and make this easy for Tony to understand. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we got 2 cruisers, 4 light cruisers, a DD, and a stack of frigates. So that's there. There's a bunch of fleet counters that don't tie in with any actual units. Strange. We have 3rd Fleet, which is a command cruiser, 7 light cruisers, a command cruiser or a commando cruiser, and a bunch of frigates and a tug. Interesting. Again, are they looking to attack this this bats? And there's a star base there. Look at that. That's a hard target. I don't know how anyone's going to take that out anytime soon. And then in the north, which is interesting, there's a little bit of Tholian action up here, but no movement to engage it. Very interesting. So I need some commentary from you, Federation and Klingon player. What is going on the Tholian front? I can see here, based on the coloring, that there's a lot of interaction going on. The Tholians are pushing in hard, it would seem. It looks like the Feds and the Klingons are beefing up and bolstering the Romulans in defense against the Tholians. Is that what's really happening? And if that's what's going on, why are you defending them, the Romulans, while leaving other areas of your territory seemingly open and vulnerable to attack? I'm curious. I know you've only got so many resources to target at any one time, but like, this medium planet is ripe for taking from a Tholian perspective. 1, 2, 3, boop, just take it. A little bit harder to do on the Klingon front. They're a little bit more trying to contain the Tholians, but definitely there's a lot going on here. And if you are going toe-to-toe with the Tholians, what's your plan? Are you looking to try and take out, like, for example, this bats? Are you going to take out this one? Looks like they're setting up, they've got a mobile base there. Interesting. So what are you doing? What are your plans? How's it going? Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Like, does he have a car? STB, sector base, late era GW, upgrade for a battle station. STB. What are we looking at? STB? Oh, STB. Sorry, gotcha. I thought it was a starbase. Yeah, got it. I just looked at it and I thought, oh, starbase. But no, you're right. It is an STB, which is sector base. Like you say, beefed up version of a battle station. And just look at the icons. It looks very much like that. So that's interesting. 12 attack, 24 defense. Interesting. 0966. 0966 starbase for the Tholians. Okay, let's scroll up to 0966. 0966. Right here, starbase has more little diamonds around it. Look at that. 36 attack, 36 defense, 12 fighter factors with the EW. That is a hard target for sure. Interesting. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We've talked about the Klingons. We talked about the Federation. We talked about the Paravians. We talked about the Aremans and the Hydrans. Let's finish off the big map with the Lyrans. All right, I'm going to move my head to the other side. Whoop. Anytime you're ready. And let's zoom in and find what's going on with the Lyrans. So I have it on good authority that the Lyran player is, shall we say, not gentle with his opponents. And we already know, based on the data, the table that we talked about, the Lyrans have one of the biggest economies and definitely the biggest fleet in the game. So how are they employing that big, bad fleet, and who are they beating up on? You can see here the Tholians have a little tiny stack on a bats, and then this slightly larger stack on the bats. Again, not too much to go on. You've got like 3 CVAs here, which is just... It's more than it looks like, more than it is. It's just 12 attack for fighters, 12 attack for the unit, and 16 defense. So 24 attack overall. That's pretty damn good. You got a battalion of bats, an FRD there, and a bunch of other ships. What do and I'll take away the control zone just so we can get rid of that. And what do we have here on the Lyran side? Doomstar fleet. Oh, no, that sounds exciting. Lyran, tell me Doomstar fleet. Look at that. Oh, I was looking for something so exciting. WSRs. Oh, I'm disappointed. That's not the big, bad, brutal fleet I was looking for. Foremost. Come on. Where is it? Lyran. There. Lyran. What was it? Foremost? Is that what we're looking at? Foremost fleet. Here we are. Boom. All right, that's a little more exciting. We've got 2 CCs, 3 CLs, 2 DDs, a stack of 8 frigates, and then 2 more. So that's a total of 10 frigates, a couple of destroyers, cruisers. Okay, well, it's not terrible. Not terrible. I don't know that it's enough to take this location just based on the battle of the battalion and the bats and the Black Widows. That alone is 16 attack factors in fighters, not to mention the ground units. So 12 plus 9, 12 plus 18 is 30, plus 9 is 39. And that's just the Black Widows, the bats, and the battalion. Then you've got, of course, the EW advantage with the, let's go here, EW advantage with the scout and the bats. And then you've got potential pinwheel PCs with the DD. Or an escort. So you got escorts for the Black Widows, maybe? And then a DDV, which is a destroyer with some fighter factors? Interesting. I don't know. That looks like a pretty tough pill to swallow overall. That's a lot of attack factors. Are the Lyrans going to take him out? I wonder. What else we got? We got a bunch of exploration fleets in the top, which we've already sort of explored. I'll just recap here. So the exploration fleets are primarily, for example, let's bring this over here. So these exploration fleets in the top here, as you can see here, YSR escorting frigates. Now, interesting to note, they put 2 frigates with them. Interesting. So they put 2 frigates with a bunch of exploration or survey ships. So interesting to see that there. We have, we have tugs doing what looks like upgrades to YDKs, building and preparing for what? Maybe an attack. Predator fleet. Tell me there's something good there. Come on. Oh, that's not bad. I like that. 2 CCs, 2 CLs, 2 DDs, and another stack of 8 frigates. So this seems to be a pattern or a template for the fleets. And we've got Pelt Hunter. I'm going to go out on a limb and see Pelt Hunter might be a similar size fleet. Look at that. 2 CCs, 3 CLs, 5 DDs, and 4, 4, and 2. So 10. A slightly bigger fleet with 2 prime teams. So Pelt Hunter. Perhaps they're going to go after this 101st Battle Squadron. Let's look at what the Tholian Battle Squadron has. Tholian Battle Squadrons. Squadrons. There we go. Battle Squadrons. Okay. Oh, well, that's not a small battle squadron. That is a command cruiser with a carrier with 2 escorts, a cruiser, 3 war cruisers, 3 PCs, and a scout. Ooh. Would that be enough to take it with a monitor there too? Oh, and a regiment, 12 fighter factors, and 6. Oh. Yeah, that might be a little tough. But again, if you're just trying to contain them, no problem, I suppose. Interesting. Here's a question for you. Lyrans, are you trying to pick a fight with the Tholians, or are you going to eat the Romulans alive? Is it 6 of one, half a dozen of the other? You let me know. Eugene, Sea Fleet in 2673. 2673. Oh my goodness. 2673. That's Apocalypse. Let's take a look at Klingon Apocalypse Fleet. Apocalypse. Where are you? You're right here somewhere. I just can't see you. Is it one of these? There it is. Battle Group Apocalypse. Oh, look at that. A C4. Okay, so that's a dreadnought with 5 destroyers, 2 cruisers, and a frigate. Okay. So Apocalypse Fleet. I'm assuming you're moving that in to try and tackle this bad boy here. That'll be interesting. I guess you were just waiting to pull the trigger. Lyrans tried picking a fight, and there's a tragedy being written over the results. Well, Lyrans, I want to hear more. Tell me more about what happened when you tried to pick a fight and the results. I mean, we do know, again, like going back to Fleet Cap and EP, like Fleet Cap for the Lyrans, they are one of the biggest, baddest fleets in the game. The Lyrans have 152 ships, 340 attack, 607 defense. Granted, the Tholians have 231 ships with over 1,000 attack factor, but there's only a small concentration of Tholian ships that the Lyrans are dealing with, so there is obviously the potential for the Lyrans to make some big gains. Will they? Won't they? It'll be interesting to find out. So, again, are you going to pick apart the Romulans as an easier target, or are you going to work with the Romulans and try and focus on the harder target, which is the Tholians? You tell me, Lyrans. I'll be very interested to know. As I scan across the rest of your territory, I'm curious about this alpha wormhole, where it's going to go and what you're going to do with it. Other than that, I'm noticing, and this is going back to our discussion about bases. Let's take away the ships real quick. The base infrastructure here isn't very robust. And I'm curious, Lyran supply. Okay, so here's a couple of interesting things. You have one, hold on, let's just make sure the supply menu is set to the right number. Assuming 3 supply, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resources that are outside of your supply range. Meaning, of your economy, if your economy is, Lyran, where are you? 120.6, you actually don't get that full 120. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 EP taken away from that 120.6. You're only 115.6 because they're outside of your fixed supply grid. You can't control those resources. You can't harness those resources. If your supply was 4, let's give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you somehow gotten ahead to 4, you're still missing 1 in the top corner here. So here's a quick question to the GM. Is the Lyran supply tying in with what they can or can't get? And these resources that are outside of supply, should they not be neutral? question for you. Those are inside supply range. Do not take into account YMC extending supply. So you can extend supply to access those. That's true. But you can only do extended supply with one convoy at a time. And you would seem to be doing it with more than one. There is a technology in logistics around the limitation of how much you can or can't. So I don't know, perhaps that is a technology you've gone down deep and you've already unlocked more than one. However, and I go back to the Lyran supply, and I'll set the supply to 3. So if that's 3 and you're using the military convoys to extend supply, let's assume that you're doing that effectively. You would be doing it either on 1 or perhaps you've somehow gotten to 2. I just don't think that's feasible. But let's say you have. So YMC would be, you'd have those 2 or those 3 resources accessible, but you still wouldn't have this one. If you had 2, then you could do either this one down here or that one, but not both. And there's no way that you've gotten to a logistics point where you can do 3 concurrent extended supply missions at the same time. So, Lyran player, I would ask, perhaps check that out on your turn sheet. Robin, our GM, check that out on the tech sheet and just make sure that that's lining up, because don't get me wrong, I think it's fantastic that the Lyrans are doing as well as they're doing. However, if that's just outside of their control, as far as resources, that's kind of what it is. You can easily build a base or 2 and sort that out and fix that problem, which is one of the sort of one of the core weaknesses of the Lyran position currently is the lack of base infrastructure. If we go back to that table, let's go to this table here. If we go back to this table, the Lyrans only have 9 YBSs and, of course, 8 YDKs. So that's good in the sense they got a lot of YDKs, but they only have a limited number of YBSs providing supply in their back end. Do the planets make up the difference? To a degree, but there's still some resources that are just outside their range. So just something to think about, Unless you're lucky with R&D teams, the earliest supply range 4 can be reached at turn 55. Yeah, so we're not at 4 yet, and I don't think we have the tech at this stage of the game to be able to run more than maximum 2 concurrent supply missions. So that's something to think about. So Lord Lawless, I would check that out and budget accordingly. We'll see how that goes. All right, so we have done all the players on the big map. Let's slide over to the Kzinti real quick, and we'll just quickly roll through the last couple of factions that are not on the big map. So we can see the Kzinti are... did I take away ships? Yeah, we took away ships. So ships and bases. So you can see the Kzinti are continuing to explore on the northwestern edge of their territory. They're still doing exploration in all directions, but there seems to be a focal concentration for the northwest. We notice there is an amoeba, a monster down here in the bottom of their territory. How are they going to deal with that? Perhaps the Kzinti home fleet will be called into action. Oh man, that's a lot of frigates. Yeah, it looks like home fleet's going to go deal with that amoeba. Okay, fair enough. Baron fleet, Kzinti Baron fleet. For such a small faction, they've got some pretty beefy military. Okay. Are they interacting with and or destroying the Romulans? It would seem the answer is no. Interesting. But they are dealing with the amoeba and perhaps some other things. Perhaps maybe they're going to limited war to deal with that amoeba. It would be interesting to know. That's the Kzinti. Let's pull up the ISC. Interesting. Okay, so the ISC you can see here looks like they're at the bottom of the map with this red line along the bottom. They've encountered the Romulans in this strange knight on a horse with the hoof out to meet the Romulans here, and they are sort of very amoeba-ish in their exploration, with their exploration really going out. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have supply 4? Because this YDK is 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away from the 5th exploration fleet, and you are exploring. Based on what Jim just said in the chat, unless you're lucky with R&D, the earliest supply range 4 can be reached at turn 55. We're only at turn 47. Qu'est-ce qui arrive? We also have 7th Expeditionary Fleet out here. Perhaps it's getting extended supply. It can't be getting extended supply because the tug is in the midst of building a base. So can't do 2 things at once. What's up with that? Also, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So very clearly, it would seem that the ISC are at supply 4. How is that possible? I'd be very interested to know. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Because, yeah, everything we're looking at here seems to indicate supply 4, but anyway, let's assume supply 4, supply menu for the ISC, and let's assume supply 4. That is how much they can explore based on what they currently have. That's a lot of territory that they can explore. Look at all that overlap on the gray. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So let's see how well they can do. Now, if their supply was a mere 3, maybe there's a, what? How are you getting supply extending off of, oh, I guess maybe the YDK is operational? 89, okay, maybe the YDK is operational, and that's why they've got supply. Maybe that's why 5th Fleet can do that. Interesting. And there's a tug there, but it's finishing building the base. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, so let's assume that the base is complete. That would explain that. The base is not complete here, so that wouldn't explain that. Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused. What's going on there, my ISC friend? I believe Paul is our ISC player. Is it Paul? No, he's in New Horizons. So in Splintered Will, who is playing the ISC? What's going on, and what are you doing with the Romulans? It would seem you're sending a diplomat to be able to interact and get nicey with them. Just think, if you were to reach intelligence level 5, look how much territory you would automatically just explore. Wouldn't that be neat? I have a feeling your economy would just catapult into the stratosphere. That would be so interesting to see. All right, this is the Gorn. So the Gorn, interesting experience with the Gorn. You will notice that there is a red colony, meaning the Tholians have reached out and taken this colony. Now, the Gorn have had an ongoing tussle with the Tholians, and they've been fighting them hard. And I guess in some way, shape, or form, at some point, they reached out and took this Tholian resource, or this Gorn colony, and made it a Tholian colony. I would imagine that the Gorn are tout de suite going to take that back. But it's interesting to see, as of right now, on this turn, notice the lack of Tholian ships within range. No Tholian ships. So what has happened? What has happened to the Tholians and the battle and the encounter with the Gorn? Two key catchphrases that the Gorns have made popular. Making pinning great again, as the Gorn have, more than anyone else in the game, used pinning to great effect to be able to neutralize Tholian attacks. So fantastic. And another sort of quote that's being made right now is they are... so the conflict with the Tholians, as I understand it, has come to an end. They are not... The conflict has come to an end, and the Gorn are withdrawing, but they are not retreating. As the Gorn have said, they are merely advancing in a different direction. So if that is the case, where are they going, and why? So they were dealing with the Tholians. Are they stopping that because the Tholians are just too much to handle? The Lost Colony would indicate that that might be the case. Are they going to be advancing in the southerly direction? If that is the case, what's going to be the result of that? We look at the disposition of fleets. They are still all in the north. Are they going to come south and deal with the Romulans, or are they going to continue to perhaps reposition and find a different way to tussle with the Tholians? All very interesting things to think about. I'm very sort of curious to see how this evolves going forward with the Gorn. Let's roll into the Carnarvon. As we can see here, the Carnarvon are, wow. I mean, the Carnarvon are pretty much one of the top factions in the game. They've got 71 ships. Let's look at their EP. Where are you? So 106 EP. That's not nothing. 106 EP. That's not like in the 111, 118, 120 frame, but they're still at the top end of the median, the average here. They have a good number of ships. They're dealing with an interesting combination of Tholian interaction. You can see here they've attacked the Tholians. So if I take away the control zone, you can see this area here they've moved into and taken a planet. There's a planet right here from the Tholians. So they've taken a planet from the Tholians, and I don't see any retaliation from the Tholians. What is going on? We can also see down here there's some interaction with Tholians, although I don't see any bases identified, but certainly there will be bases seen, I would imagine, soon or shortly. There is a Romulan diplomat on the Carnarvon homeworld. Are they chit-chatting and having good conversations with the Romulans over here? If they do and their intelligence level goes up, maybe they'll be on the big map sooner than later. We'll have to see. But you can see definitely the Carnarvon are tussling and interacting with the Tholians. They are winning, it would seem, their various battles. But with the Paravians, the Lyrans, the Gorn, the Carnarvon, all having, at the Federation, the Klingons, all having significant conflicts with the Tholians, here's a very interesting question. Do the Tholians only have limited resources? Yes, their ships are pound for pound better than everybody else's, but they only have limited resources. Perhaps at this time, they can only concentrate on one big fight or one or two big fights at a time. They were tussling with the Gorn. There was no fight back on the Riemann side when they took a planet. There's no fight back essentially from the Carnarvon when they took a planet. Maybe that's because the Tholians are overly occupied with the Lyrans, the Feds, and the Klingons, and the Gorn, respectively. How will that change if those fights change or the status of those conflicts change and they go to peace? I don't know, but it would be interesting to find out. Also, another wormhole here. Where does it go? We'll have to see and find out. And that, my friends, is the conclusion of our maps for today. All right, everything on this, I'm gonna have to totally rebuild a brand new production, so that's gonna take a little bit of work next week. So we'll have a brand new production next week with, I guess, totally new graphics. We'll have to figure out how this is all going to work going forward. I'm going to change everything and have to rebuild a brand new production for next week. So thank you for everybody who supported this live stream with the various coffees. If you are already a coffee supporter, between that QR code between me and the blank chat window and that link down below, then you can, if you're already a coffee subscriber, geez, I'm totally tripping over my words. If you are already supporting the channel in one way or another, thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. Today's coffees definitely help everything move forward. I know Dan is not the most recent subscriber. We've had a couple more this week, but one of the things I noted quite a while ago is that in the privacy settings of YouTube, you can have your, when you subscribe to a channel, you can have your name be displayed or not displayed for plugins like, for example, Stream Elements and things like that. So Dan McLeod is the most recent subscriber that doesn't have privacy on his account, while we do have a couple more who who have joined the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you've stayed with us this far at an hour and 45 minutes into the broadcast, then please type it in the chat. Let me know. 1:45. You have stayed this long into this broadcast. Thank you so much. Please consider hitting the subscribe button and following along for next week. Already the thumbnail is up. We're going to be talking about first contact in New Horizons between the Klingons and the Carnivon. That's going to be exciting. So new encounters in that campaign. This Splintered Will is getting spicy as we move forward with dealing with Tholians and more players hitting the big map. We've talked about the strategic implications of dealing with a spread out but technologically advanced opponent like the Tholians, the advantages of being able to explore with the tech that we have, all that kind of stuff. All exciting, very interesting to see. Very interested to see what's coming up next in the turns to come between now and Christmas. We're in the holiday season almost. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure those notifications are on. If you haven't already hit and you're this long into the video, hit that thumbs up and like button for the broadcast. And I will see you next week. If you haven't already seen that thumbnail, go over to the channel and see it now. Thumbnail for next week's broadcast is there. Looking forward to seeing you in our next live stream. I will be seeing you, if I could just find the screen I want to go to. Crazy. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.